Welcome to the No Heroes Left Behind podcast. My name is Darshan Gabriel Shanti, and I am your host. This is where hope begins. Here you're going to find veterans who have stared darkness right in the eye and found a way to get beyond it. They found a way and a reason to stay. And they are living proof that no matter how bad things get, no matter how awful everything looks, there's always going to be another day. And if they can find that, then you can too. So listen up and learn what Steve, my wonderful first guest, has done, what happened to him, what made him stay, what he's doing now, what his secrets are. And again, remember, if he can do it, so can you. So I welcome you, Steve. Thank you so much for being my first podcast. You, sir, are going to be the first guardian of hope, the first person to share this message with so many people. And you're going to save lives that you may not even know, because 10 years from now, somebody could see this podcast and decide to stay because of what you share. So welcome, my friend.
Thank you very much, sir. I'm very grateful to be here and be the first one on. And to anybody that's watching this 10 years from now, I'll still be the same asshole.
Yeah, you know why I laughed? Because I wasn't expecting that. The best definition I've ever heard for humor is the interruption of logic. That was definitely the interruption of logic. So thank you. You made me laugh. I love it. Great way to start. All right. So you talked about, obviously, you made a joke. You talked about, I'll be the same asshole. But tell us what your life was like before the suicide attempt. Tell us what was going on. Who were you? What was happening in your world?
Well, I was a different asshole then. Not a happy-go-lucky like I am now. Back then it was, I mean, everything on the outside looked great. I had uh, a family, good job, working consistently, um, kids, just, you know, the what you would call the American dream, right? And it just all of that was a lot of stress on top of just not being and feeling whole, to begin with. As I learned over the years, back then, I couldn't fucking think of, you know, anything coherently to save my life other than, when's the next bill due? What are we doing with the kids today, tomorrow? What's the work schedule? Who's doing what? Who's cooking what? Who's coming over? Where are we going? Like, it was just unconscious living at its finest, and it didn't feel authentic. um I did a lot of things that I had no really, like, I did so many things that we're just programmed to do, that not necessarily I cared to actually do. And so that was, another thing that kind of built up on as a weight on the shoulders, because, we'd have people over, we'd go places, so often, and I just wanted to fucking rest. Like, I was constantly fatigued. um I know my kids have said before, like, they they gave me shit my oldest in particular, because, back then I was working 6 10s. Um, and you get home from work and you're just drained, and you do what you got to do, but sometimes fucking your body will just stop, So I'd pass out on the fucking couch, and it just felt, and then that added, more to the bullshit of, I'm not being the best fucking dad. I'm not being the best, and that was always a thing for me that ate at me as well, was always wanting to be the best at shit. And I mean, again, so many different things just all piled up between wanting to be the best fucking dad and husband, and uh, you know, be the best welder at work, or fucking, just that mentality was part of why I joined the fucking Marine Corps, because fucking Marines are the best. So that's where I'm gonna fucking go, tied to my lineage of my grandpa being in, and great uncle both being in. But that those types of mentalities, whilst great in a competitive way, are not conducive to living healthily if you can't control them to an extent. So I said, just all the different shit, between kid stuff, work stuff, bill stuff, wife stuff, your daily house stuff, outside stuff. It just, and not knowing how to deal with those things calmly, and realize that, like, yeah, this is just shit that's got to get done, and we can fucking do it. Like, I know now, after learning many different techniques, and going through lots and lots of fucking shit in my head. um it it just feels beyond overwhelming. And when you get to that place of everything's just overwhelming, then nothing feels good, nothing, you can't really enjoy anything. um and so you use things to escape. I remember every now and then I have like this, the Facebook memories pop up, and one of them was my beer fridge in the basement of our old house. And I had that thing just packed. And I know it wasn't just for me, like it was for people coming over and shit, but like I was so proud of that beer fridge just packed to the gills full of fucking alcohol. And because that was my escape, drinking fucking beer just to feel better, like most of us do. And not really thinking anything of it, because it didn't, I wasn't technically an alcoholic, because it didn't fuck me from doing what I had to do, on a day-to-day basis. But that was my way of being able to deal with the shit instead of actually dealing with the shit. So, I mean, there's so many levels to that place where I was. And honestly, I can't remember all of them, because when you live in that space, you're not really consciously aware of all the things that you're fucking thinking about, and trying to deal with. And so, it fortunately, I think, in a way, well, I don't remember some of some of that shit. um but yeah, it wasn't a great place to be. um and I just basically just grinned and bared it, thinking that I'm just doing this is life. Life sucks, but you got to deal with the suck, because that's what we were taught in the military. Fucking suck it up, deal with it. Um, and again, that's great advice in certain situations, but that's not a fucking way to go through life. Um,
Absolutely not. I
so
think that's what causes a lot of these problems that so many of us veterans have. We're just told to stuff it down, to suck it up, to drive on and keep going. And like you said, in certain situations, if you're in a firefight or something, your life depends on it. Yeah, you can't be emotional, but at some point it's got to come out. Because if it doesn't, all of that stuff, that deep down, that anger stuff down turns into depression and numbing behaviors and drinking and drugs and some of the things you were describing, being happy about a fridge full of beer, that will tell you where your mindset was. And all you were doing was trying to survive.
yeah.
All those expectations you had of yourself, that the world had on you, the pressures, all of that, it just kept building up and building up and building up over a whole bunch of years. And how long ago was that
What,
that all started?
oh, I mean, shit. That that level of mentality, starts in the military. Like I said, like that whole suck it up and deal with shit. Like that's how we live in the military, on top of being, I mean, like functioning alcoholics. Um, we joke about fucking drinking until 4 a.m. and waking up at 5 to fucking go run, 3 or 4 fucking miles, but that's reality. Like that's the shit that we fucking did. Uh, that is in no way, shape, or form conducive to being, you know, ready for any kind of a fighting situation as much as we think it might be. Which is why they don't let you fucking have alcohol when you're in country, except on special occasions. But even when I was there for the 4th of July, um, we were supposed to be able to have two fucking beers that they were going to give out, and the commander canked that shit too. So so much for celebrating the fucking America uh, in country with our 2 beers, because that's really gonna set somebody over the fucking edge. But
Well, it could if you're an alcoholic. What is it? To one drink is too many, and 1,000 is not enough. So yeah,
yeah,
you never know. But what I was talking about more is when you got in the civilian world and you're talking about your kids and they get mad at you and you were always tired and stressed and all that. How many years ago do you think that was?
well, I mean, I got out 15 years ago. So, and when I got out, I mean, my oldest was the only one we had, and she was just one at the time. And so my son came, a year later, and at that point I was working, like I said, 6 10s, you know, every week. Um, and so the only day I had off was Sundays, and a lot of times we would have, and again, this is my own, by my own volition, like we would have people come over and I would fucking cook out, and because I enjoyed cooking, and that was part of the people pleasing, um I felt like it was something that I had to do. I did enjoy doing it, but it also felt like, one of those things that we get programmed with, of, always trying to help others, and and do things for everybody else and never think about yourself because that's fucking selfish. So I mean that, 15 fucking years ago, and then um slowly, as that shit fucking built, it was probably about 5 years of shit building before it all came to the head. So um
What were you thinking constantly? Like what thoughts were running through your head? Like this sucks. I don't want to do this. This is not my life. It's not worth it. Like what was going through your head?
yeah, it was, I mean, it was just like it was always a fight really in my head of, what I'm doing. I enjoyed doing the work because it's usually a challenge and I like a challenge. Um, when I would be welding, I always challenged myself to make the welds as pretty as I could because that was like my form of art. And I always wished I was artistic, but never thought that I really had an artistic side. And but at the same time, I was just like, man, why am I? Is this really what I want to fucking do? For the rest of my fucking life. There's like this just feels hollow, and the irony of it is that's what got me into the military to begin with, was because I wanted to join right out of high school, and I dropped out. I got a homeschooling diploma, and I got told that they don't take homeschooling diplomas without college credits. And so I said, well, fuck this, I'm not going to fucking college on top of it. So I got in a trade. And then after about 4 years of that, I'm thinking to myself, is this what I really want to fucking do for the rest of my life? Like, am I going to do this shit until I'm fucking 60? Like this doesn't feel like living. Like this shit's easy. And it's not, it's a challenge to an extent, but what do I have a fucking passion for? And what really triggered that passion idea was um the movie fucking Rudy came on TV, and I just happened to fucking see it, and I'm like, this motherfucker, dude. Like, if anybody's got a fucking passion for something, it's this guy. Like, he is not taking no for an answer by fucking anyone. Like, and what happens, he finally makes it onto the team just to be beat up on, and then gets to dress one game because of his fucking pals sticking their necks out for him, and he achieved what he set out to do. And it made me think and reflect on, like, what in the fuck do I have a passion or ever had a fucking passion for? And that's what brought me back to the fucking Marine Corps. And then like that ate at me for a couple months until I went to the recruiter's office again, and I was just, fucking sign me up, and at that point they didn't give a shit about my fucking GED or homeschool diploma. Surprise. But anyway, like, it goes back to that, like, this is not a passion, right? So what do I have a fucking passion for? And that took me down, a whole nother fucking rabbit hole of, trying to figure that shit out, but not being able to. And the consistent, fighting with my ex, and just not feeling worthy of anything that I had, always trying to be better than uh the best example that I could be, but without having an example to fucking live up to. Cause I grew up, my fucking dad wasn't around. My parents got divorced when I was 2, and I barely have fleeting fucking memories of ever really me and my brother, seeing our dad. And then at one point there just wasn't any, like he didn't come around anymore. And then eventually my fucking mom got remarried, but you know, to me, that's not the same thing. Like the biggest father figure I had was my grandpa, who I fucking was named after. And uh like I said, he was in the Marines as well. And but it's not the same. It's still not the same. Um nothing can replace, in my opinion, you know, not having that father figure to learn from, to look up to. And so that's always been something for me that I wanted to emulate the opposite of. But how do you do that without an example? So it's trial and error. And man, I've fucked up way more than I've fucking gotten it right. I can tell you that for sure. And my kids will fucking let you know it too, because they're not fucking they're, they're not going to hold back. And you know, I'm not going to try and tell them that they're fucking wrong either, because I get it. Like I was fucked up. I didn't know what I was fucking doing. Um, and that's kind of the beauty of it too, is trying to figure it out regardless of, you know, being fucked up or not. So um I think I kind of went off
It's
off
it's
the
it's
topic
okay.
of what.
Listen, I wanted to let you tell that because whoever listens to this, there may be something in some of the things you said, even if it wasn't directly about the question, that impact their lives. So it's all wonderful. Look, I mean, in summing it up, it's clear you were under a lot of pressure, had a lot of expectations of yourself, and that they weren't being met. You didn't have role models, lots of stress. You were living a life that wasn't appealing to you, weren't passionate about it. You were like, is this all there is? Like, and so what then? How did that all transpire into you deciding to end your life? Like, what? Tell me that story. Tell me what led up to it, and what you actually did, and then what changed your mind.
Well, it was, I mean, again, it was a culmination of just everything building on top of each other for years. And I remember, because this was in 2015. So um my youngest was born in 2015, and me and my uh wife at the time went to, I know one of the triggers was we went to see American Sniper that came out, and with another couple. And when we got there, we went out to dinner first, and then we went to the movies. And we got there, and it was so fucking packed that the four of us couldn't, shit, we couldn't even sit like two people together. All four of us ended up in different parts of the theater sitting on our own for the fucking movie. And I remember watching the movie, and then after it ended, um everybody was filing out, and we were gonna have to regroup, but I got to the top of the stairs and something just fucking broke inside, and I just broke down and had just leaned up against the fucking wall back there and was just bawling my fucking eyes out. And I honestly don't remember how long I was there, but like I couldn't fucking move. I just had to stand there, and then people were fucking walking by, and I felt shitty about that on top of it. Some people, I remember putting their fucking like hand on my back, like in a comforting fucking way, which again made me feel worse because, I felt like an asshole fucking breaking down in this fucking movie theater. Um, and, eventually I pulled myself away from that and went to go find them, and they had no idea where I was. And, I we regrouped and went out to our cars, and, they're obviously asking what's going on, am I okay and stuff. And I'm like, I had no idea what to say. Like, obviously I wasn't okay. I don't know why I'm not, but I'm not. Um, and then driving home, it was just silence. And like I wanted there to I wanted her to make it better, but I there was nothing I don't think that she could do or say to fucking make it better. Um, and so that kind of fucking kept eating at me on top of everything else. And I just never felt really seen or understood, or, um, you know, me and her used to fight over all kinds of shit. And honestly, I can't even fucking remember, most of the shit that we fucking fought about, but there's no way it was anything important, you know? So eventually one night we were arguing about fucking something. Don't remember what. Uh, but she ended up taking all the kids, and it had to have been fucking 8, 9 o'clock at night, like late. And she just fucking left the house, took the kids, and went somewhere I don't remember for a while. And that was like the end. Like, I was just like, why the fuck am I even here? You know, if I am this much of a problem, then obviously things would be better without me fucking here. And I walked upstairs to our bedroom, and in the closet, I had my shotgun, and I fucking pulled the shell out and chambered it, and sat there with it fucking staring down that barrel, just wondering why, why, why I shouldn't just push that fucking trigger ever so slightly, because that's all it fucking takes. And the irony of, you know, that's all it takes, just a simple little fucking impulse. Um, and yeah, going through my fucking head was just everything, like thinking about life, thinking about my marriage, my kids, my friends, like all the fucking shit. And in that space, everything everything I thought about was looked at from like this dark lens of, you know, it's not good. Like there's nothing good about any, my kids, I love them to death, but when I get angry, they're terrified. And why do they deserve that? They don't. So there's basically playing pros and cons in your fucking head of, which way should this fucking go? And it almost feels like a coin toss at one point. Um because you're trying you're trying to fucking find anything that's gonna, there's so many more bads than fucking goods, but every now and then there would be like, I remember thinking about, the statistics on parents, fucking men who kill themselves, and how that, affects kids' lives and shit like that. And that ended up, you know, being a little step in the other direction, like remembering that that's something that really fucks up the kids' lives. And well, if I don't want to fuck up my kids' lives, then maybe this isn't the best fucking thing, as much as I am a fuck up. And dude, I sat there for, I don't even remember how long, just back and forth. Like my head has been just a constant tornado of fucking thoughts for so long at that point, and it never got any better. And so it was just like picking, this thought or that thought out of whatever's fucking spinning at the time. And eventually I came to the conclusion that my kids are the most important thing to me, and I have the power to change things. I understand that I have the power to change it, even though I don't think that I do right now. The only person, if I want to be a certain way, if I want things to be a certain way, then I have to embody that. If I want my kids to have the best life that they can, then I have to provide that. And I have to figure out how to fucking do it, and not let myself keep being this fucking way.
So your
And
kids
so, huh?
were the most important thing. That's really what had you decide to stay because you knew it would ruin their lives if you took yours.
Yeah, I mean, I that they were the reason that I chose to not push that little fucking trigger down. Uh, and so I stopped. I pulled the fucking cartridge out. I put the shit away, and eventually she came back home with the kids. And I didn't make any mention of it. Um, I did a little bit. I don't remember when, but I did I did mention it to her after that at some point, and I remember her, not even believing, which, at that point I could have cared less. Like, I don't care if you, as we like I said, we were always on the rocks, with our relationship, and so it was no surprise to me that she didn't fucking believe that that's what happened. But it doesn't matter. Because I was there for it. I don't need anybody else to fucking validate my life and what I chose to do or not do in order to, again, show up the best that I could for my kids. And even after that, I was still a fucking all fucked up. But there was the change in that I knew inside that no matter what, I was going to figure it out somehow. So that's kind of the only drive that I had was, because I still, like I said, I'd still get angry, I'd still fucking yell, I'd still, not be great about things. And that would again promote the fucking uh negative thought loops, what a piece of shit you are, why do you but after that, I swore that I would never fucking go down that road again, because my kids deserved to have a dad. And that was another thing too. Like, not only was I going to not give them a life with a father like I never had, but it would be even worse because of, my dad's still alive. I don't fucking talk to him. I know he's he's still alive, but um they wouldn't have that ability to, even have their dad alive to fucking to talk to, or, reach out to, or so I I did what I had to fucking do. And eventually I chose to, start. I mean, it was a long, difficult fucking road, go to the fucking VA, get turned away, surprise, that was one of the reasons I never wanted to go to the fucking VA, because you hear the fucking horror stories about that shit. And why do you want to put yourself through that fucking embarrassment? Well, surprise, surprise, you can fucking go to the VA, and then I get told I don't fucking rate. Thanks. Thanks. You keep fucking doing good for the fucking veterans with all this. Fortunately, I had some people help me out with that, and made some calls, and they're like, I don't know what the fuck you guys are looking at, but any veteran that's served in a combat zone rates fucking everything in terms of healthcare from you fucking guys. So they obviously changed that, and then I started talking to a psychologist, um, learning about feelings. Fucking weird word, but I that was one of the big things, was like, we don't talk about or really understand our feelings in the military. Um, and if you can't understand what you're feeling, then how can you deal with it? So, and prior to that, I was I had tried to I tried to go the civilian route, seeing fucking doctors. Uh, I've never been a fucking pill person, but I was going to different doctors, like trying to find one that would like felt like they actually cared, like they wanted to fucking help. I I jumped from doctor to doctor to doctor, and finally this one fucking Indian dude, um, he legit thought that I was just trying to get pills. I'm like, I just want fucking help, dude. Like, I don't know why you think I'm just trying to, like, I didn't ask for any fucking pills. I didn't ask for, and through all of these doctors, I was trying to fucking, like, again, I hate fucking pills. And I think that you don't have to fucking take them. I know everybody's different, but you don't have to fucking take these antidepressants. There's ways around it. There's ways through it without. And this is coming from somebody that tried many different kinds. And fucking I remember the one doctor gave me. I swear I just had a psychotic break after the one fucking pill. I took one pill of it. I think it was Zoloft. I can't remember for sure. And I sat in that fucking kitchen and thought that I was losing my mind. And I called the doctor and I was just like, what the fuck is going on? She's like, oh, there's no way you could have that kind of a reaction after one fucking pill. I'm like, okay, go fuck yourself. I'm telling you exactly what fucking happened, and you're not going to tell me what I experienced was not fucking real. So try something else. So took a couple different, tried it, and I eventually got on one. It was called Effexor, and that actually worked fairly well, but it was fucked up too because it it made me happy. It made me have energy, but I did not give a fuck about anything. Like and by give a fuck, I mean like I don't really know how to explain it other than like it didn't fucking matter. Like nothing fucking mattered. I was just happy go lucky and fucking uh and just living my life, but it felt hollow as well. And that space of I don't care, like, oh, that hurts somebody's feelings. Nah, I don't give a fuck. Like zero give a fuck about literally anything. And at this point I had started fucking I went from drinking, I started fucking smoking weed too, because the drinking made me feel like shit. It actually fucked my stomach up because I was, so much of that. So the guy that gave me the fucking pills for that, he's like, maybe we should think about, since you're doing better, you know, not smoking the weed. I was like, you mean stop the thing that's kept me, you know, going insane, kept me from going insane. Um, yeah, you can go fuck yourself now too. Like you, and this is the way. This is why I love the fucking pharmaceutical industry. Let's let's get rid of the natural solution. And not to say that, smoking weed fucking nonstop is a healthy way to fucking deal with things, but let's get rid of the natural solution so we can get you addicted and stuck on this man-made pharmaceutical bullshit, which is ironically down the road what I learned, what kind of triggered another epiphany through this road. But I was just like, no, and we're done here. So I'm not going to take this anymore. He's like, what do you mean? I was like, I'm not taking it anymore. He's like, well, you got to wean off of it. And I was like, no. He's like, well, you can have blah, blah, blah. I was like, fucking watch me, dude. So I straight up fucking cold turkeyed fucking this Effexor shit. Um, like, and like, don't tell me I can't. That one, if there's a benefit to me for sure, it's my stubbornness can fucking outdo anybody's fucking stubbornness. So you tell me I can't fucking do something, I'm fucking doing it. Um, and so yeah, just like I stopped smoking cigarettes cold turkey. I stopped fucking cocaine. I stopped fucking smoking weed. Like I've stopped things. Don't tell me that I can't fucking just stop taking your stupid fucking pills. And so,
Let me ask you this. So it's been many years. It's been 2015 to 2026 at the time of this recording, and who knows when somebody will be watching it. It's been all those years, and you've been going through all of these different personal development stuff and drugs, and both natural and not. And you've been working on yourself constantly because healing doesn't just take place in 1 second. It's a journey. It's a process, and you've been doing it, and you've been saying, you know what? And I don't want to put words in your mouth. It's not just about your kids anymore, right? It's about you and your what you want for you.
yeah,
That's more important now. Is that
sure.
correct?
Yeah, no, for sure. Like the thing that kept me was my kids. And as I went through this journey, more and more I've realized that I need to be the version of me that I want to be for me. And that version will, of course, be the best that he can be for his kids, but it's not about my fucking kids anymore. It's about
Like,
it's about me, because if I'm not my best, and if I'm not, and that's where I was stuck at, prior to when I was saying like I'm fucking people pleasing. I'm trying to fucking make everybody fucking happy but me. So when that fucking revelation happened, yeah, it's been, that was a whole nother channel avenue of discovery to realize that, yeah, I need to fucking work on me for me, and not for anybody else, because if you're putting it outside of yourself, then it's never going to fucking stick.
I agree completely. What you just said there is pure gold. You had to do it for you. You can't, maybe it was great that the kids started the process, but what can only continue it is if you make it about you. You are the most important thing in your life, and everything else branches off from there. And without you being the best you can be, none of the rest of it would matter anyway.
Right.
That is huge for people to understand because there are a lot of veterans who you could tell that to, and they can't hear it. In fact, that's one of my questions that I want to ask is like, what would you tell a veteran right now who's in the place you were in when you had that shotgun loaded and ready? What would you tell him or her to help him or her get past that? Like, is it something you like? Is it think about somebody else? Because if I tell them, if I've told veterans, hey, think about your kids, think about, a lot of times they still think, no, they'll be better off if I'm not here. For you, it worked. But is there any piece of advice you would give that veteran?
I mean, at that point, really, it's like you said, for me, that's what worked, even though it wasn't originally, and like that was part of the reason that I got to that fucking place was because I wasn't um being what I needed to be for them. But honestly, when you're in that fucking spot, it's just any anything good that you can grasp onto. Honestly, it doesn't have to be you. It doesn't have to be the revelation that you shouldn't do this for you because you can be the best that you can be if you just put your fucking mind to it. No matter how true that is, you're not going to fucking believe it when you're sitting there thinking about all these fucking things. So
Exactly.
in that moment, whatever piece of good that you can fucking grab onto to pull yourself out of that fucking hole, grab it. Grab that fucking good piece, that thought, that person, the kids, what the fuck ever it is. Doesn't fucking matter what it is. If it's enough to make you think twice and just stop, then fucking grab it. Grab it, hold
And
on to it, and nurture it until you can get to a better fucking place, and eventually realize that, yeah, I need to do better for me in the long run. But in the moment, it doesn't fucking matter as long as it's something that's strong enough and powerful enough to get you to fucking interrupt that what really is the end all be all negative thought loop if you let it be. So,
breaking that death loop of negativity
right,
with something. You you keep saying it doesn't matter, and you're right. So this is not a contradiction. It might sound like one. It doesn't matter what it is as long as it matters.
right,
As long as it's something that matters to you,
right,
something that makes you feel better, something that is like a demarcation line, something that stops the
yeah,
negative spiral down, whatever that might be. In your case, it was your kids. You grab onto it, you hold on to it for dear life. And then once you gain that leverage, you can then slowly start to move everything else because you have enough of a leverage to be able to do that. And
yeah.
that's what your kids did for you. And I think that's brilliant. It could be somebody's parent, it could be their cat, it could be
It
their
could
dog,
it
it
could be
could
your
be
fucking project car for all, who the fuck
right.
cares?
Doesn't have to be alive. It
Right.
could be anything that says that makes you go, okay, if I was thinking the world would be better without me, wait a minute. This person's life or that wouldn't be better if I wasn't here. It would make things worse. And when you start thinking that way, it's amazing what happens. I mean, that shift, I can't snap, is instantaneous. Like you said, it made you take the round out, put it away, and right from then and there, your life changed forever.
Hmm.
That is absolutely magical. And I love your advice. Just find something good, hold on to it, don't let it go, focus on that, break that spiral. I absolutely love that. We sort of talked about this, one of the last questions. Like if you could sit beside yourself now, right now, during that moment, when that gun was locked and loaded, you were ready to end your life, what would you tell yourself?
Honestly, I'd probably be a little bit of a dick to myself. Uh, it's just the way I am. I would honestly be a little bit of a fucking dick to myself. Like, dude, you are so fucking weak right now. Um, I can't believe that we fucking got to this point, but I'm telling you right now, there's so many fucking amazing things that you're gonna miss out on. And you know, you can't even begin to fathom all of the things that are gonna happen in the next fucking 11 years that are better than you ever fucking imagined anything could be in your life, because you created it after realizing that this is fucking bullshit. Like, I there's not much else to really fucking say other than, dude, just one day, one day you're going to have this fucking epiphany, and one day you're going to have this next epiphany, and all these fucking things are going to start stacking up, and things are going to start making sense. And not to not to give you any spoilers, but um this life that you're living right now is going to change immensely in every way that you wanted it to, because you chose right now to not do this. And when you realized that you had that power to choose this right now, then you realized you had the power to make the next fucking choice instead of the negative one, and then the next positive choice instead of the negative one. And those things slowly compound on each other.
I
So,
think that's fabulous. You're painting a picture of what will be. And a lot of people in that situation won't even be able to hear it, but it doesn't matter because the person who does hear you tell this story, or the dozens or hundreds or thousands of people, to one of those or two or 10 or 100 of them, it's going to matter. They're going to hear something and they're going to start telling themselves something. Wait a minute. I don't know what's going to happen in the future. I got this big dark picture painted. But what if it gets better in every single way instead of what if it gets worse in every single way? What if my life is so amazing and so incredible, even though I can't see it and don't even know how it could happen? What if
yeah,
instead of, see, it's like Dr. Joe Vitale always says to play the what if up game. What if it gets better and better instead of what if it gets worse and worse?
yep,
And I love that. That is absolutely key. Grab onto something, hold it tight with everything you got, see it, because you don't know what your future is going to look like. And that is beautiful. And here's my absolute the final question. I want every podcast will end with this. What, Steve, gives you hope today?
um just that knowledge. And the one thing that I like to remind people that I help and work with is, when you're at that fucking rock bottom, there's two parts to this. When you're building, there's that whatever it's fucking called, story or parable or whatever, about building your fucking house on sand, right? Build your house on a strong foundation, not on fucking sand. What I've come to realize is that when you're at rock fucking bottom, that's a strong foundation to build something on. And so the only fucking way is up from that point. And now that you've hit the rock, like, to me it feels like I was fucking drowning in quicksand, and I was trying to build a life on this fucking quicksand, and it was all just getting pulled down and pulled down and pulled down. And then finally I hit that fucking bottom because I can breathe in quicksand. And when I decided to not go under the rock, but to stay on the rock and now build from the rock, everything has a strong foundation. And to that point, also being that I think so many people reference rock bottom, but the duality of everything in the world is that there's this side as much as there is this side. So if you believe that there's rock bottom, then there's an equal and opposite fucking pinnacle, whatever you want to call it, the mountain fucking top or fucking heaven, whatever you want to fucking call it, there is this side to it. And if you haven't fucking been there, then what are you waiting for? You've been here, and I can tell you, you can't, it's very difficult to imagine what this fucking looks like from this side, but there is this side to it. And so all you got to do is start working towards that fucking side and see what it fucking looks like. Create whatever you want from it because you have that power. So once you hit rock bottom, know that that's not the worst fucking place. It's actually a great place to start building a strong foundation for this fucking dream side that you have that you don't know exactly what is yet, but you can absolutely get there if you should so if you should so choose.
That is more gold. I mean, I just love the dichotomy there, the picture. Here's rock bottom, and up here, way, way, way up here, is the top. And if there's a bottom, there has to be a top. And when you work, you can work towards it. It's beautiful and it can be whatever you want it to be. And if you're at the bottom, that's the best place to be because then you can build your new life however you want to build it on the foundation and the frame and the rooms and everything else that you want. You can build your new life. And I love that. So seeing that different version, that upper limit is what gives you hope and what keeps you moving forward. That is a beautiful, beautiful way to put it. And whoever's watches this to get something from that alone, as I always say, hope begins here, and one story can change a life. One example, like you just gave, can change a life. One example, like you just gave, can actually save a life. So I'm very, very grateful that you, Steve, were my first guest, my first guardian of hope and the first person to set a solid foundation of what this podcast is about. And when we have 1,000 or more episodes in the tank, we can look back on this and we have 1,000 stories of hope, 1,000 foundations to build on, 1,000 turning points for people to turn their lives around, no matter how dark and how bleak and how empty it looks. They know that there's a reason to stay. And you've given them a whole bunch in your example. And I can't thank you enough for being so willing to share your story, so open, so vulnerable, and so willing to help our fellow brothers and sisters who served, who are in the same position you were back in 2015. Thank you very much, Steve.
Absolutely. Happy to happy to share and do what I can. And once again, thanks for thinking of me and having me be part of this, and can't wait to see how well it grows.
Absolutely. And anybody that watches it, please share it, because the more you share it, the more lives we can save. That's what this is all about. We can do this together. 22 a day or 20 a day or 17 a day, whatever the latest statistic now, is just too much. There's no need. We can save lives. We will save lives through each of these stories, and we will leave no heroes behind. Thank you again, Steve.
Thank you.